And we're very happy that you're all here, and wanted to welcome you to the celebration of the completion of this property, and also the dedication of the property to the memory of Bill McGonagle. So as we think through the themes of this event, I hope you'll pay attention to what I'm trying to weave in there, which is two key messages that we hope to send today. The first one is present in almost every affordable housing development that I'm sure you've been involved with, and that is the importance of partnerships. We all understand the role of partnerships play in making a project like this work, and you'll hear from some of the key people who worked with us to make this thing happen in just a few moments. Of course, this project, like most housing projects, wouldn't happen without an infusion of substantial capital resources. And we were fortunate enough to get a good chunk of money from the city as well as from the state to address this property. The big money from the city and the state reinforces their firm commitment of the policymakers for what we're trying to accomplish here. And just to put it in perspective from a layman's term, I know there's a lot of language that I'm not quite that familiar with, but this is going to be a three-quarter house. You all know about a halfway house is. This is a place for folks, when they're done with the halfway house program, to come here and live in a more permanent setting. And thanks to the resources that we secured from the Boston Housing Authority early on, those people are going to be able to stay here for as long as they need to stay here. So we've got a firm commitment of Section 8 project-based vouchers from the Boston Housing Authority through the mainstream program, sort of an obscure program. But again, the Boston Housing Authority had the foresight to put that out there and see if there was something that could be done to utilize those. But I just wanted to, obviously the big money is crucial to making this work, but the partnerships are beyond just the big money. It's the sort of interactions that we've been having throughout this process. We started, and Caitlin and I were talking about this, we started just as COVID hit to identify this property. In fact, Neil will remember one of the first times he tried to figure out what to do with this. We were doing it over Zoom with the former property manager, sort of trying to describe what the property was like, because we couldn't get in. But eventually we did get in, and again, the timing all worked with the resources that the city made available to us. Right off the bat, Blue Hub came to our aid, but they only came to our aid, I shouldn't say only, but they came to our aid because the city was willing to sort of make this thing work. So I'm very grateful for those folks, and I'm really grateful for the hard work and relationships that we've developed over the course of this process. I was saying to Kenzie how awesome the Boston Housing Authority folks have been, helping us work through some of the difficulties of interacting between the two populations that we're serving. So those partnerships are obviously a crucial part of the success of today. But the second theme today sort of moves to the idea of the memory of Bill McGonagle. The intersection of the need for safe, decent, long-term, affordable housing and the needs of the folks going through the recovery process. And so we're really excited. We feel like this experiment that we're going to take on here is important for the future of how the recovery community works. Housing is such an important component of that, stable housing, and Adam has taken that taken it to heart and has been aggressively securing more housing units. So again, it's that combination of housing, stable housing, and key supportive services by our partners, both at the Granada House and at Addiction Treatment Center of New England. So I am extremely grateful for everybody to help make this day happen. As much as we talk about those big ticket sources of funds that we got, you look at the project funders there. We got $600,000 from the Davis Company during one of their mitigation efforts. We also got money from the Charles Bank Homes Foundation, which was really important to me, because I think those folks at the Charles Bank gave it a good long look and said, yeah, what you're doing, it makes sense. Also, the Housing Ministries of New England saw fit to give us money. So those monies sort of reinforced that what we're doing is a good idea.
Because everybody here is a contributor. people that care about addictions, people that care about housing, people that care about people with addictions who need housing. So I'm just grateful to the work, to all the people that I know we're gonna hear from who are actually doing the work. And thank you for all you do.
Hi everyone, I'm John Heaster. As president of the Allston-Brighton CDC Board of Directors, I am happy to be here on this important event that helps to carry on the tradition of the CDC and its role in the community that started in the 1980s. And it started when a group of concerned residents came together and looked to explore ways to address the housing challenges that are ever more present today. Fast forward till today and you will see that legacy continuing at a faster and larger pace. The project we're celebrating right now permanently creates affordable housing for individuals, advancing through the recovery process, providing them with hope and stability. Adding 14 new preserved homes to a portfolio of over 500 apartments throughout Allston-Brighton reaffirms the CDC's commitment to successfully develop affordable housing. I joined the rest of the CDC's board in thanking the many partners that have helped make this project possible. When you look at the 43 history of the CDC, you will be reminded that none of the projects and successes they've had would have been possible without bringing together a wide range of supporters from all over. And all of those supporters have been interested in making something good happen time and time again.
You know, I can't tell you enough about the important role the board has played. And while I'm at it, there's a couple of board members I see in the distance there. Tahir Hussein, Tahir, thank you. Tahir's been on the board for quite some time. Brighton Lou, a legend here in Allston, is also with us. Any other board members that I can't see?
Lauren, Michael.
Lauren, how can I forget you? Lauren, thank you for being here and thanks for all the work you do.
First and foremost, I do want to thank and congratulate the Allston-Brighton CDC and the development team for getting this done. It's been going on for a while. It probably bumped into like most development obstacles that one can imagine, but you persevered, you got it through, and here we are today with a really wonderful asset for Boston. So thank you. Thank you for getting this done. Thank you for thinking about the recovery population that needs a lot more stable housing. And I sort of firsthand working in Mass Cass and other parts of the city, and housing with supportive services and intentional communities is becoming more important than I've ever seen it in my working life. So thank you, Allston-Brighton, for seeing that need. And also thank you for naming this after our dear friend, Billy McGonagle, and I'm gonna keep it together. I was thinking about Billy today, because I knew this was happening this afternoon, and I just wanna say first and foremost, I miss Billy. I just miss him. I miss going to Moles, I miss the toasted blueberry muffins, I miss the whole thing. I just miss him. But I'll deal with that myself, but I really do miss my friend. But I do want to thank Billy, and I want to thank his family for all that he has contributed to Boston. He was stubbornly resolute in the things that he cared about. One, first and foremost, his family. He cared most about his family, and you'd get out of the way if he had to pick somebody up or be with somebody, it was always family first. Two, he really knew almost every tenant in the Boston Housing Authority. He just, if you went on Unity Day, it was actually like, how do you know all these people? He knew like every single person, their families, their connections. It was skillful to watch. And he knew early on that we need to preserve our portfolio of public housing, and now Kenzie's there, and I feel like she's gonna, she's absolutely picking up the mantle. But he knew early on, before a lot of housing authorities, that the physical plants were in trouble, and he really started to tackle it. It was kind of amazing. What I didn't know was his dedication and involvement in the recovery community. But that makes perfect sense because Billy was a man of many talents. So of course I didn't know all that he had done. But so I'm really honored to be here today. I'm honored to say a few words. And I hope this is the first of dozens of buildings that we name after Billy McGonagle, because he was one of Boston's best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sean, and everyone for being here today. Like Sheila, I'll try to keep it together. Billy was just a huge mentor of mine, and I think about him every day. I have a big picture of him in my office, which was his office. When I was in 2019, I was working at the Housing Authority. I started running for city council, And you know when like somebody doesn't say something to you, but they say it to other people and it starts getting back to you? So like several people came up to me and they said, Billy says he has 3 retirement projects: the grandkids, sobriety, and your political career. And I was like, well, I'm definitely 3rd on that list. But I was just thinking as I was standing there that all 3 of those things are in the room today. And I really want to recognize Ellen and Allison and Matthew and Mark and the entire extended McGonagle family who gave Billy to us every day for so long, and to continue to not just have been generous with his time with all of us, but to like really endorse his missions, right? His housing mission, his sobriety mission, and just you all just carry him with you everywhere that you go, and it means so much to me. I've now got a McGonagle, Mark's wife, Caitlin McGonagle, running leased housing and admissions for the Housing Authority, and actually those are 2 departments that have been working closely with this development, and so it just really feels to me like that ethic continues. And I think the thing that for me that Billy did a lot of important things, and a lot of important policy things. We were just talking about the fact that this project probably wouldn't be financially possible without the move that we made to small area fair market rents in 2019, and that basically was a structure that allowed the vouchers that are underwriting this project to pay more per month, which then helps you borrow more money and it helps you fund more supportive services. And low-key, honestly, even beyond what we expected, that has turned out to be a real lifeline for supportive housing around the city over the last 4 years. So Billy did really big policy things. Sheila also referenced the redevelopment work, and just like there's so many things like that have his fingerprints. But what I really think of when I think of Billy is an ethic, and it's just that like real identification with your fellow human being. And I think that for me is the through line between his housing work and his sobriety work. Like Billy grew up in public housing and he looked at every public housing tenant, and he didn't just think there but for the grace of God. He thought that was me, that is me. Like these families, they are our families. Like they deserve safe, decent, affordable housing, just like everybody does, right? And there was just this kind of like core commitment to that. And in the exact same way in the sobriety community, Billy didn't look at folks' struggles and their need to travel the road of recovery and say, there but for the grace of God. He said, that's me, right? And it was, and he just like threw himself into that work, like as though every person that he was interacting with, was a mirror of himself. And I would say, as a Christian, someone carrying the image of God. And I think Billy lived that in just this like fundamental way with everything that he did, and people saw it in him, and it's why he related to and had relationships with people in our housing communities from all walks of life, and it's why he's gonna live on with a lot of us for a good long time, and we don't need buildings to remember him by, but we sure as hell are gonna have them, so really glad to be here today.
The amount of work that Liz has done for the creation and preservation of affordable housing in Allston-Brighton since that time is just amazing. We're really, really fortunate to have her here. And Liz, I turn the podium over to you.
I think a project like this is really inspiring. It takes a team, it takes a village. There's a lot of partnerships go into this. Sheila's department, BHA, all the different funders, and then our partnerships with the folks from Allston-Brighton Pauses and the recovery community in Allston-Brighton to support residents. Stable housing is the fundamental first need to be able to help people on the road to recovery and stay on the road to recovery. If you're not stably housed, it puts an incredible stress on your well-being and your ability to cope with life's challenges. So I really applaud all the great work, John, that you've done here. I know the work continues. We need to continue building spaces like this, acquiring and restoring spaces like this so that we can offer more support for those folks on the road to recovery and turn their lives around. So thank you all for the incredible work you do, and It's been my honor to work with you, and let's keep it going.
So we're gonna transition now from that housing focus over to the supportive service piece of it. And I realize how much I've got to learn, and I've been fortunate that I've had a group of folks here in Allston-Brighton that have helped me learn a lot about the needs of the community that's going through the recovery process.
Afternoon, folks. You're probably gonna hear my southern accent here, so I say howdy where I'm from. My name's Adam Tucker. I'm the CEO of the Addiction Treatment Center in New England. ATC is a nonprofit treatment program that's up on the campus of the Brighton Marine Health Center. Excited to be here. This is a huge milestone for the recovery community. I want to talk a little bit about the disease of addiction. Addiction is a relentless disease that affects individuals, families, and communities regardless of background, status, or age. This disease can tear apart lives and shatter dreams. We all know that sober living housing plays a dire part of dealing with this disease. At the McGonagle House, we'll provide a supportive environment where individuals in recovery can find support, guidance, and solidarity. In this home, individuals battling addiction are surrounded by peers who understand their struggles, creating a sense of camaraderie and understanding that is essential for healing. Sober living housing is far more than just a roof over somebody's head. They serve as incubators for personal growth, fostering a culture of accountability, responsibility, and self-improvement. Residents are encouraged to develop essential life skills while they're here, pursue education and employment opportunities, as well as rebuild fractured relationships that they've needed in the disease of addiction. They play a pivotal role in the broader landscape of the addiction recovery community, serving as bridges between recovery and the mainstream of sobriety in the community. By providing this transitional space where individuals can gradually reintegrate into their communities while receiving ongoing support, sober living housing drastically increases individuals' likelihood of long-term sobriety. ATC is very proud to partner with Allston-Brighton Community Development Center to provide these supportive services so that people can grow, prosper, and continue the long journey of sobriety. So appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
The expectation is this is one of many that will be created in the near future. So again, learning about the process. And talking about learning about the process, the next guy I'm going to introduce gave me a lot better understanding of the needs for this particular population. Tim is one of those guys that gets stuff done in sort of semi-miraculous ways. If you know Tim, you know what I'm talking about. He's making a lot of positive things happen, and sort of a bit of a role model for the kind of things you can do when you're still called retired. That he's getting more done than most people get done while they're in the working stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tim Burke. I'm also, I had Adam's job before he had it at the Addiction Treatment Center, and I stayed on the board as the board of directors. And I'm here with a couple of our other board of directors. Our chairman is Richard Rouse, former sheriff there. Who's also a board member. I'm not sure where Dar is right now, but he's here. We're supporting this program, this project. And I met John years ago when we first started to talk about this. I just want to say too, it's special for me to be here because I grew up in the same project as Billy, and he was a neighbor. They lived in O'Callahan Way, we were on Logan Way, and he was a few years older than me, and he worked at the farm that we call it the drugstore. We can't say that today because it's too many, go south quickly. There was the pharmacy and a little soda fountain store, and they had candy and cigarettes and stuff there. Billy worked there, and my goal in life at that time was to be a stock boy so I could get to that candy. But I want to express my gratitude to John Woods and the Allston-Brighton CDC for efforts to bring this beautiful home to life. The recovery house would not have happened without John's vision, determination, and perseverance. So thank you, John. I just want to say a few words about why this house is so important and why it's appropriate to name it after Bill McGonagle. As we all know, alcohol and substance abuse present significant challenges to individuals, families, and communities. While the personal consequences are devastating, the economic and social costs extend far beyond the individual and substantially burdening our society. The financial impact is staggering. In the United States alone, the annual cost of alcohol and drug abuse is estimated to be in the hundreds of billions of dollars, encompassing healthcare expenditures, lost productivity, criminal justice involvement, and social welfare programs. However, the cost is not merely measured in dollars and cents. The human cost is undeniable. Lives are lost, families are torn apart, individual potential goes unrealized due to the devastating consequences of addiction. Beyond the measurable economic costs, issues like family dysfunction, child neglect, homelessness, and domestic violence are often linked to substance abuse. The impact on families and communities can be profound, leaving lasting social and economic scars. I'm sure many of you know it, but we still want to say it because this house is going to have such an important role in changing that. Recovery housing, early intervention, education, and accessible treatment options can offer individuals pathways to recovery and reduce the overall burden on society. By prioritizing recovery housing and adopting a public health approach to combat addictions, communities can create a healthier, safer, and more productive future for everyone. The impact of stable housing on individual recovery from substance use disorder is profound. Research has shown that individuals who have stable housing are more likely to maintain abstinence from drugs and alcohol, engage in treatment services, and successfully achieve long-term sobriety. Safe recovery housing provides stability and security that is essential for individuals to focus on their recovery goals and rebuild their lives. However, there are challenges and barriers to securing stable housing for individuals in recovery. These challenges can include lack of affordable housing, discrimination based on history of substance abuse, and limited access to support services. Additionally, individuals in recovery may face a stigma and housing barriers due to their past experiences with addiction, making it difficult to secure stable and supportive housing. We cannot continue to punish people who are trying to get well. We need to help them, and housing is a big part of that. Let me summarize what I'm trying to say today. The stable housing is a critical issue that requires resources and action. Safe recovery housing is vital to supporting individuals in their recovery, providing them with stability, security, and support they need to rebuild their lives and achieve long-term sobriety. Addressing the challenges and barriers to accessible housing and investing in innovative approaches to housing support, we can create a more helpful and recovery-oriented environment for individuals seeking to overcome addiction and rebuild their lives. I'm so grateful to be here today as we gather to recognize the recovery champion, Bill McGonagle. Bill is a strong advocate for the recovery community and a loyal friend to others in recovery. Bill was a friend who never forgot his humble beginnings. He was just another kid from the projects who lived in O'Callahan Way and recognized the devastation that substance abuse has caused in the community. He spoke up and acted on behalf of those with substance abuse disorder, and he deserves to have this program named in his honor. In some ways, Bill's commitment to the recovery community will continue by naming this home after him. Thank you.
You think about the like the Venn diagram between like my father's support for recovery and my father's support for like public housing, like it's just a circle, right? And this is like it's like I'm like getting a little choked up. It's been like almost 5 years since Dad passed, and still it's you know, it's my old man, right? And I miss him. I miss him every day. And you know, just to be here today and you know, I've been kind of in somewhat communication with John throughout the process and how this thing's been going along, and like to be standing here today, you know, and knowing that like what this house is going to be able to do, because like I'm gonna break my personal enemy. I've lived in places like this, right? So I know what it's like, you know, and Dad is driven to visit me in places like this, right? So Dad knew what it was like, you know, and it's an incredible honor. I just want to express my heartfelt thanks from all of my family. We're all incredibly touched that, you know, somebody would think of my dad when we're putting a name to this place. So that's all I got. Thanks.
I just really am grateful that you came by, took some time on this kind of crappy afternoon, and made this thing happen. So thank you so much.